Welcome to Fantasy Time Inc. Chapter 1. The Store. Heather entered the new mall with a lot of apprehension. Her beautiful face reflected it as she walked by several different groups of beings who were also checking out the newest addition to the spaceport. Finally, she spotted the store that she wanted. She took a deep breath as she read the sign above the concealed door. On a lovely quartz plaque read the legend, Fantasy Time Inc. Her face now reflected a joyful excitement as she entered the beautifully decorated store. As the door swished closed behind her, she noted the exotic interior. Scattered about the lobby was ancient 20th century furniture. Victorian, I think, thought Heather as she walked to the reception desk. At the desk was an older man who smiled sweetly at her. "Do you have an appointment, miss?" he asked, looking at her petite, 5'5" frame approvingly. "Yes, I do," she replied, looking down at the printout sheet. "With an A. Ross." "Great. Please be seated, and I'll check to see if Dr. Ross is free." He stood up and gave a slight bow as he disappeared behind a curtain. Heather went to inspect the beautiful gold-encrusted mirror over the satin couch. She gazed at the way she looked today and shook her head sadly. She looked at herself in the mirror and noticed that her face was as natural as possible, instead of the more elaborate Kabyline style of makeup she usually wore. Her blonde hair was in a simple ponytail, and she wore a dress of the Sioux tribe, of which she was descended. "Well, at least I appear to be a simple person instead of what I am. One more galactic cocktail party for some ship's captain. I will become a hermit on the outer reaches of the galaxy," she thought to herself glumly as she sat down on the comfortable couch. "Dr. Ross is free now," said the man with a sweet smile as he came through the curtain. "Will you follow me, please?" Heather smiled back at the man, dazzling him with her beauty as she followed him to Dr. Ross's office. She pulled down her tunic nervously, wondering if these sterile surroundings really hid the means to obtaining her heart's desire. Finally, the man stopped at one of the soundproof rooms and put his hand on a glass panel, and he gestured for Heather to enter the office alone. To her surprise, she was face to face with a lovely young woman wearing a red Vivianian robe. It was the latest style from Woods of Sagar's world, and she looked wonderful and modern in it. In contrast, the woman's makeup and hair were done very simply, and yet it was very flattering to the pretty woman. Anne Ross gestured to the seat in front of her, indicating that Heather be seated, smiling graciously. Heather wasn't surprised that Dr. A. Ross was a woman, but that she was as young and as modern as she was. Heather took the indicated seat and said, "For some reason, I expected a 50-year-old scientist." Dr. Ross laughed musically and said, "You mean like Perkins here?" A musical laugh and sparkling eyes put Heather at ease at once. "Welcome to Fantasy Time Inc. We are special here. There are other time travel agencies, but none have our reputation or excellent record." So began Anne's usual speech that she gave all of her guests. It answered all the questions before the patron was even able to ask it. It was a way to start a friendly relationship that was mutually enjoyable for the guide and traveler. "Our record is for safety, pleasure, and excitement, and we work hard to give you all of that. We want to make you at ease in the time you choose, and we train and dress you so you can appear as a part of that time, instead of just a visitor to it.